Check this out. Look at the lights. It's pretty bright. That's my camera. That's Brant's. That's the big camera. There's Brant. So yesterday my camera died. Cannon T6i bit the dust. The rain killed it, I think. Alright guys, I'm out here at the graffiti bridge and it's swamped. Look, that's where they're not even letting people come by. They even got armed guards, they got cops out here. But I've had it for 2 years. It was my ride or die, and now I gotta go buy another one. So I'm thinking about probably the 80D. I'm gonna cruise up to Best Buy, see what they have, see what kind of prices they can do. So for the most part, the video yesterday was shot completely on my cell phone in 720, which is the front side, face side of the iPhone. But it's really not professional grade. It's just you use what you can and you do what you gotta do. So today I gotta go get me a better DSLR camera because there's no replacing the DSLR camera for the most part. Also, I'm listening to Les Brown's Ultimate Audiobook Collection on audiobook. Amazing. Dude is amazing. Got to check him out, Les Brown. He's up there with Napoleon Hill. Well, $1,580 later, I got a brand new Canon 80D with a 18x135 lens. I think I can do some damage with that.
I'm doing a thumbnail.
He had all the lures in his mouth. I was trying to catch it before he dropped them all. All right, guys, I got it right here. I got the 80D, the big and sexy, the AKA cannon of a camera, pun intended. This bad boy is an absolute bazooka compared to like my ride or die right here. Okay, let me explain. So I wanted to talk about the difference between like the two cameras, right? And I don't want to talk about it in like specs or like frame rates or glass or any of that stuff. We all know that. We all know the difference between sensors and focus and autofocus and manual focus and picture quality. We know that stuff. It's written on the box. And you know, we kind of run into choices. You know, you got to make choices. When you get to a certain level, and on YouTube or on Facebook, you gotta go either all in or just keep being the same old, same old. That's why when this one died, I stepped it up, okay? I'm stepping up to the 80D. But in the beginning, never, ever, ever, like think you've got to have a fancy camera to start. I started on my cell phone, and then I got a GoPro, and then I used that for years until I could afford this Cannon T6i right here, or like the one I'm filming on right now. And once I got that, I was off to the races. It changed my YouTube channel, I mean drastically, like just that one little step up in camera. Casey Neistat did a good video on this about how the difference between a cheap camera and a middle range camera is big. And then as you go up from there, the quality you get it's not as much bang for the buck going from, except for when you go from like a GoPro to a DSLR camera. It's like this, but from like a $700 DSLR camera to like a $1,000 DSLR camera, it's not that much difference. My point is, you shoot on what you can. My last couple vlogs was shot on nothing but my cell phone. But when you can get something better, you gotta step it up to the bigger camera. This one right here, or this one right here. You might be saying, get to the point, yeah, get to the point. My point is that the T6i did everything I needed to do when I started on YouTube. I really didn't know anything about DSLR cameras, didn't know about apertures and all that stuff. I basically threw it on auto and I let it rip, right? And I still do that. But, after a while you get to where you get to the upper end limits of that camera. You need a little better autofocus. You need a little better lenses. You need 3 or 4 different lenses. You gotta either reach out there, get the B-roll, that sexy stuff, or you got to bring it in and kind of get a good aspect with some lights here. I mean, check this out. See the lights? Believe it or not, those things make a difference. And right now, I'm actually recording on another Canon T6i, which is Brant. So we know the difference in the two. Like, we know that the 80D is awesome and it's a humongous piece of artillery. But the Canon T6i is, like $600-700 bucks. You can get in a YouTube bundle. And it'll do just about everything you want to do on YouTube. Sitting it on a tripod, walking around, used it for a long time. That's why I said, you know what? My channel's making a little money, I need to step it up. I need to get up there with the professional grade. That's why I switched to the Canon 80D. You know, you can quote specs all you want, but believe it or not, there's a reason why the pros are using one thing, and the reason why us smaller YouTubes were using these. Because we could afford this, we couldn't quite afford the other. But I will say this, when you can afford to get there, you got to switch. You need to switch. Get those lenses, get those filters. You've got to get the better editing software. It just makes it that much better. And then when you're trying to get, you know, from 30 to 60,000, 100,000 subs, you got to just keep ramping up the pace, ramping up the op tempo. Slick sexy right there. And I had to splurge. I had to go out and push the envelope, because the choices you make about not being cheap can have a drastic results on the other side. And this is shot on the 80D. I don't know if you can tell a difference, but I can tell a difference because one, this lens is awesome. It's on an 18 by 135 that will literally just come all the way in. It's crazy far. So why did I get an 18 by 35? Because this is something I've learned over shooting lots of video. Not necessarily great video, but just shooting with stuff, everything from the GoPro to the Cannon T6i, a lower end, good DSLR camera, but not like something that's sweet and sexy like this thing. So when you first start out, you know, when you're scared to buy that first expensive camera, you really don't know how to use it. There's a lot of buttons that just do all kinds of stuff. There's apertures and ISOs and all this good stuff. But I think everybody looks at it a little too much. You know, it's really about using what you got and making the best of it. And then when you reach the limitations of that, you go up to the next level. So what I did is I started with my cell phone, reached the limitations. I had the GoPro, reach the limitations. And then when I started making more and more content, I realized, hey, I need to reach out and get that seagull right now. I need to reach out and get that skyline. I need to reach out and get more B-roll. And then I realized, hey, I don't want to change out lenses so much. Like, what's a lens that I can kind of do everything with, and what's a lens I can reach far out with, and what's a lens that I need to do vlogging with, because, you know, you don't want it right here. And so, like, it's really easy to go down the rabbit hole of cameras. It's really easy to go too far with it, because believe it or not, like 80% of the people on YouTube is watching it on their cell phone. You're still competing with cat videos shot on your cell phone or on their cell phone, or a chipmunk video or a squirrel in a dumpster. So remember, don't go crazy with it. Just learn how to tell a story, how to be animated. So when I'm talking about the T6i versus the 80D, the T6i got me into the DSLR game. It got me to where I needed to go, but it was limited. It was limited in autofocus, and you know, it was limited in kind of weatherproofing. Like, you know, they're not weather kind of proofed. Like the 80D's got a lot stronger body, and it's made to take a little more, you know, abuse. So when I say, you know, the difference, you know, there's a difference in lenses, but are you gonna notice starting out? Probably not. That's why I don't want to talk about specs and all this stuff and everything that's on the box. We already know that. It's really just making a decision, getting out there and making video. Your cell phone only gets you so far. Your GoPro only goes so far. And then your next step, you know, some of these like lower end Rebel series, they're great cameras and they will do just about anything. Brand swears by the T6i. He just bought another one, because if you break them, you can get like 2 or 3 for the price of this like 80D. Really 2. So just look at that. What is your budget? If your budget says this, do that. Like, get the best camera you can afford and then go from there. But don't be afraid to make the leap. But I'm pretty pumped, guys. We're fixing to be on cable television, broadcast television. We're shooting the first episode of Far Out Fishing that's gonna be on television. I'm completely addicted to coffee, but it is lifeblood of champions. All right, so we're at Blab doing our brief for the show. We gotta go on the teleprompter here in a minute. We're reviewing the footage. It's the McDonald's chicken biscuit versus snapper video.
Catching stuff on a sausage biscuit right now.
We can go ahead, guys.
Check this out. Look at the lights. pretty bright. I can see myself. That's my camera. That's Brant's. That's the big camera. There's Brant.
Then what's a good way to toss to break?
So that's a wrap. First day of shooting's over with. It's way different than YouTube. On YouTube and when I'm making my videos, I can like ad-lib, have fun, and then cut and splice. When you're on cable television, there's no cutting and splicing. You gotta start all over. So when I say something funny, I can't say it again. It's already gone. It's been filtered out. All right, so that was a wrap up of the first day, like on cable television. For me, that is like a high point of the vlog, guys. Because literally when I started, it was just like a dude in a shed with a GoPro and some old fishing poles. And now I just went on stage at a broadcast network and did the whole teleprompter thing. It's pretty pumped. Took us a year to get that thing rolling, but we got there, guys. We got on television. Even though I've gotten like almost 20 million views on YouTube, that was pretty cool. It's way different than it is trying to make a YouTube video. And when you mess up, you got to start over. So I hope you guys enjoyed the day. It was a long day. This camera's awesome. Keep up the hustle. Never stop. You can do the exact same thing. See you later.